9 Central African Time. You are indeed on Channel Africa First with the African story globally. Welcome to the first hour of the journal with me, Ernest Pillay. Now, speaking at the Huawei South Africa Connect 2026 in Johannesburg last week, Communications and Digital Technologies Minister Solly Malatsi said that South Africa's greatest strength lies not in its metropoles, but in the townships. He was highlighting the innovation happening in communities across the country, from startups to innovation hubs and entrepreneurs tackling challenges in areas such as agriculture, healthcare, education, and financial inclusion. So let's expand on this discussion regarding technology and the digital space, as it were. Let me welcome my guest on the line, Menzi Mhlongo. He's a senior project manager at Digify Africa. Menzi, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Good morning, Mr. Pillay and the team at Channel Africa. A warm hello to all the listeners tuning in across Africa. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Indeed, we thank you so much for your time. So when one moves and, just taking off from the excerpt I've just read now from the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, when you move beyond providing connectivity and actually equip people with digital skills and tools, what tangible changes does one begin to see, as it were, in the communities that you may be working with, and particularly yourself?
So, Mr. Pillay, just for context, for the listeners to provide some background in terms of our organization as Digify Africa. So for over a decade now, Digify Africa has been at the forefront of shaping Africa's digital future. We are a youth-led nonprofit, and our main mandate is to sort of bridge that digital divide while making sure that we provide tackling unemployment across the continent, and specifically South Africa, and not just giving young people access to technology, but equipping them with practical, job-ready digital skills, AI capabilities, and entrepreneurial tools. So I think you've got such a really good topic here, and what the Minister, Mr. Solly Malatsi, commented on, especially on township innovation. Yep. We see everyday proof of it. And as Digify Africa, our focus is taking that natural grassroots creativity and amplifying it through digital economy. Just for the users at home, internet access without digital literacy is like giving someone a car without driving lessons. True inclusion means transforming a smartphone from a consumption tool into a production tool. And another scary statistic is that South African mobile users spend 71% of their daily screen time on social media. 28% of that goes to entertainment, gaming, and just 1% on productivity, like sending emails, looking for jobs, employment, and continuous learning. And that's a scary statistic, Mr. Pillay.
It really is, Menzi, and thank you for giving us the background of what Digify Africa does. And as a follow-up question to that, I mean, what does your experience tell you about the relationship between digital inclusion or exclusion, if you will, and economic mobility, particularly for young people and women in townships? I mean, it's a scary stat that you're reading out, and doesn't come as a surprise that everybody has these gadgets in their hands, but what are they using it for? And as you rightfully pointed out now, it's mostly spent on entertainment and, looking for job opportunities. Surely there's a whole lot more that can be unlocked with these devices, right?
Yeah. And then there's a whole lot more. And another scary stat is that most South Africans at least have 2 mobile phones. And given that you've got 2 devices and you are actually connected to the internet, but you are not using it to participate in the digital economy, that's largely an indictment on us as South Africans. But in practice, bringing the digital divides means making sure that the physical meets, the understanding and the comprehension of what the tool and the device can do. So yes, we've got the hardware, and in some cases, people are connected, limited, or with full access. When we, do our research on the ground, we found that especially in the township, our users are either using mobile data and rather than Wi-Fi, and 60% of them have full access. But what happens to the 40%? So there has to be some sort of inclusion mechanism. But I'm also really happy to say that there are centers and hubs that users can go and connect. So handing someone a smartphone or a connection um, accomplishes very little, when the users lack literacy to navigate their interface and cannot afford to keep the device powered
Hmm.
or find no content that's relevant to their language or daily survival. And we're very fortunate as Digify Africa to work with donors that support the work that we do
Hmm.
so that we can provide free programs to close that digital divide while ensuring access to the digital economy. Mr. Pile, if you can just give me some time to maybe illustrate some of the programs that we have. A program that I work very closely is called Digify Pro. In fact, it's our flagship program.
Yeah.
And that's program that is tailor made for unemployed youth to provide a really high intensive digital marketing bootcamp that transforms raw talent into industry ready professionals. So we go out and find unemployed youth. And this is a free program, by the way.
Hmm.
We've just launched our 2026 cohort in mid July. We've got 350 beneficiaries that are unemployed that have started this program. And over the next 3 months, Mr. Pillay, we'll be going through a grueling experience where we'll be teaching them the A to Z's of digital marketing. And not just in a theoretical sense, but
Yeah.
also in a practical sense, where we bring brands and agencies to give real world briefs and challenges that our participants will tackle. So, in a sense, they are learning and they're also practicing on the job and creating a portfolio, a book of evidence that they can take at the end of the program to recruiters and find employment. In addition to that,
Hmm.
our program is in partnership with Meta, and they are not just getting a Digify Africa certificate, but they're also getting an endorsed Meta certificate,
Yeah.
and that allows entry to the job market a bit smoother. And this is one way of us, trying to make sure that we bridge that digital divide. And we've got
Absolutely.
other programs
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
like Digify GPs.
Absolutely. Hold the thought because I want us to hone in on
Mm,
the work that you do to ensure that there is indeed universal access as far as the digital space is concerned. But you mentioned something that caught my attention as well, that if I'm correct, about 60% of the users use their actual data versus Wi-Fi. And that to me is even more concerning because obviously the mobile network companies are the beneficiaries, right? They make oodles of money. But it then suggests that there isn't enough collaboration between government, Minister of Communications, and the network companies as well to ensure that there is universal access, and they will keep harping on that to give access to ordinary people by enabling Wi-Fi in various areas, right?
mm. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. So one of our mandates is to become a voice for advocacy in the digital space, and we've been, for years now trying to advocate to get um, nonprofits like ourselves a platform that we can get our platforms and learning tools to be zero rated. And that's a very costly exercise, and it's challenging to navigate, that red tape. So, you know, one experience that I remember, one participant who joined Digify Pro wanted to drop out because they couldn't afford the mobile data,
Mm.
and I then asked him, "How have you been connecting, for the past few weeks?" And this poor participant, and it's my heart is still touched. They mentioned that they were hotspotting at a local KFC.
Mm. Mm.
They were literally going into our classes, just every single day, standing outside in the cold and hotspotting in a KFC.
Wow.
And I would really urge, big business, telecoms, and our government to collaborate, because we cannot work in a vacuum. We are unfortunately a nonprofit, and our work is dedicated to certain project-based periods, because of that's what funding allows.
Yep,
And we'd
absolutely.
really love to sit here and say, we have touched everyone across South Africa, but that's not the reality.
Mm.
Some people do need a bit more access and support in terms of internet connectivity. And when they do have that internet connectivity, Digify then comes in and makes sure that you are using that internet safely, first and foremost, but also it becomes a tool to open up doors for you.
Absolutely. Menzi, let's pause there for a second. We'll continue with our conversation after this break.
Mm.
Let the drums guide you through Amapiano energy and jazz sophistication on Jemba Vibes.
Somi Grammy-nominated jazz voice, Rwandan and Ugandan roots, born in the US but claimed by the African continent. But she's also honored Africa's Miriam Makeba. I'm South African. I can't talk to you without speaking about Ginger Me Slowly. In fact, that song has brought so much pressure on us South African men and how to treat our women.
It's not a song that I don't want to sing, but there are times when I feel like maybe I want to have a set that's a little more like, I don't know, that's sort of brewing in other emotional spaces. I still feel like, but I should do Ginger Me Slowly. It's kind of a joke now with my band. I love that it's a love song that people want to hear, and that it occupies a kind of warm energy center for me.
Feel the heartbeat of the African continent. Afro beats, jazz grooves, and dancehall fire unite on Jemba Vibes. Sunday, 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central African Time. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Keep Africa in your hands. Connect to our website for all your news, sports, and cultural updates. channelafrica.co.za.
All right, 23 minutes past 9 Central African Time. You are indeed on Channel Africa. I'm Ernest Play with you on the Journal. We are available on OpenView HD channel 628 and the DSTV Audio Bouquet channel 802. We're talking the digital space and the technology in broader terms. My guest on the line is Menzi Mhlongo, Senior Project Manager at Digify Africa, and they are already doing just that to ensure that we do achieve that universal digital access and, break the chains of that digital divide that exists here in South Africa, if not the continent at large. Now, Menzi, you were talking about some programs that you've already embarked upon with the young people. Please expand on that, because it's one thing to harp on people not having enough access, but would rather focus as well as much attention on the good work that you guys are doing. Menzi? I think we've lost our guest on the line there. Menzi Mhlongo, Senior Project Manager at Digify Africa, who are already, as you heard, if you've been part of the conversation, already doing great work there, empowering young people, because that's where we need to start. Of course, there needs to be a considered effort as well from NGOs like Digify Africa and government and the private sector as well to come on board and ensure that infrastructure is also available for people to have access where they would otherwise not have access in far-flung areas of our country and other parts of Africa. If you'd like to weigh in on the conversation, by all means, we welcome you to do so. Our WhatsApp line is +27 83 288 6684. On Twitter or X at Channel Africa 1 is where you find it as well for your comments. You're most welcome to do that. All right, we have Menzi back on the line. Not yet. All right, we'll take a short song, music break, and we'll come back. Hopefully get Menzi Mhlongo back on the line.